What's good? How y'all feeling, man? Happy Sunday, you know what I'm saying? I really just want to have a talk with y'all, give a breakdown of this song called Black Jesus by Tupac that really, as a kid, changed my entire perspective on religion, Jesus, God, all this different stuff. And it made me really look at things with a wider perspective at a very young age, by the way. And this is the power of hip hop, you know what I mean? Especially for the youth who need this, not saying everything that rappers say is true, but when you can say something that sparks the mind and opens up a new perspective, it could walk somebody down the road they're supposed to go down in the future, right? Nobody just pops up at the answer or pops up at the road you're supposed to be at. Usually, small things across your life take you down that road to the path that you're supposed to be on. This song played a pivotal role in that for me. And um really just a little summary, the basis of this song, right? I grew up believing in or seeing, I heard the idea of a black Jesus, etc. But when I'm going to church, when I'm seeing these photos and all this different stuff, I'm always seeing a Caucasian Jesus. I'm always seeing a Caucasian in these pictures. So today, you know what I mean, at my age today, I'm not looking at it like the race or whatever necessarily matters, right? I'm more focused on the message. I'm more focused on the reality behind the message of what Jesus was trying to say. However, in deconstructing um the self-hatred and deconstructing my the control that happens through religion, right? And the idea of white supremacy through the promotion of white Jesus, right? Which was the game plan, you know what I'm saying? Caesar Borgia and all that good stuff. Hearing a song like Black Jesus altered my perspective and like, damn, like Black Jesus, a Jesus that's black. It never really crossed my mind in that way, right? And in that same instant of understanding that, I grew a little more pride and a little more love and passion for my own skin. When you looking at a Caucasian Jesus all the time, and then on top of that, you seeing all of this propaganda, all of this messaging that says that you as a black person are lesser than because you are black. When you hear a song like Black Jesus, it gives you an alternative perspective that allows you to say, like, damn, that could be a thing. That could be possible. My skin is something to be proud of because of how much we love Jesus or how much we loved Jesus or how much however the story is for you. All right. So in the beginning, it's very important to note that Tupac is saying, we searching for Black Jesus, sporting jewels and shit, straight tatted up, Jehovah Witness, Islamic, whatever it is. I'm a thug. Thugs, we praise Black Jesus all day, right? So even in this message, this is a deconstruction of the idea of Jesus, right? This doesn't mean that this is what Jesus is or whatever. It's deconstructing the idea that's been used to dominate your mind and dominate your perspective on this through the propaganda, right? Which was an actual coordinated plan. Then we get to Gaddafi's verse, super underrated outlaw, by the way. The outlaws are underrated. Niggas be sleep on the outlaws. He said, I do my shootings on the knob, praying to God for my squad, stuck in a nightmare, hoping he might care, though times is hard. Up against all odds, I play my cards like I'm jailing, shots hitting up my spot like midnight rains hailing. Got me belling the stash more green. Gods, they ain't trying to be trapped on both black slinging no rocks like bean pies. Brainstorm on the beginning. Wonder how shit like the Quran and the Bible was written. What is religion? God's words or a curse like crack? Shaitan's way of getting us back or just another way of my Black Jesus traps? So that last part, right? Brainstorm on the beginning, wonder how, is him questioning it. How did these things come to turn? Who am I trusting? What is the process behind writing the Quran, writing the Bible, and it being taken as factual? What is religion? Is it God's words or a curse like crack? Right? And I think what he's referencing to, is it God's words or a curse like crack, is is it really God's words, or is it manipulated in order to control and dominate the black community, right? Because especially considering what we know about how religion was used in slavery and how it's used even to this day around the world to justify things, to justify war, to justify genocide, etc. Now, when you deconstruct the religion, you can find a way to separate religion, the religious aspect, from Jesus and God, right? Sometimes it could be in unison, and therefore it's easy to blame the whole thing. A lot of people who aren't really who don't like the idea of Christianity usually look at the Bible or look at these as if the whole thing is Christianity, as if Christianity isn't just a piece of the Bible that comes later and there isn't more to the story, right? And what he's saying here is religion just another way to keep us under control? Is religion just another way to keep us away from the true word of Jesus and God? That's what he's saying here. Shaitan, which I believe is another name for Satan, way of getting us back. Is that just another way of pulling us back into the trance? Or is it just another one of my black Jesus traps? Right? Then Storm comes in. Who's got the heart to stand beside me? I feel my enemies creeping up in silence. Dark prayer, scream violence. Demons all around me. Can't even bend my knees. Just a lost cloud. Black Jesus. Give me a reason to survive in this earthly hell. Cause I swear they're trying to break my will. I'm on the edge looking down at this bottomless pit. Will it matter if I cease to exist? Now, I love this verse because she's speaking to God or to black Jesus in a way of like, I know you understand me because you black too. And that's the thing. That's the key. When you have the idea, right, that you're speaking to a Caucasian Jesus or praying to a Caucasian Jesus, there has to be a level of disconnect for other races. There has to be a level of disconnect for black people in general, because you might symbolize or identify whiteness with, even if it isn't, whether you idealize it or you demonize it, there's a separation between you and that whiteness, right? And that supremacy that's being pushed. And therefore, how are you supposed to pray to this Jesus in a way that is actually relatable to you? And I think that's why it's actually such a genius game plan, because in the process you're turning away black people, or you're making black people um um connect with the Caucasian Jesus in a way where it's from a place of looking at it from a place of supremacy. And not just Jesus, but anyone who looks like Jesus. If Jesus is white, you automatically associate whiteness with supremacy. So her talking to Jesus in this way, right, is talking to Jesus in a way like, this is a black Jesus. This is a Jesus that relates and understands what I go through, what I'm experiencing, etc. Which actually, in my mind, relates to a stronger message when you think about God, considering God is for everybody. Some people don't speak English. Some people don't speak Spanish. Some people don't speak Portuguese. But God is universal. The language is universal. So if it's only under one identity, under one language, how could it be universal? Which is honestly the story of Jesus too, breaking down the separation between the Gentiles and the Jews to create one, right? So then we get to the hook. All hail, the pressure no endeavor can fail. Submissive souls turn to hoes when exposed to jail. In times of war, we need somebody raw to rally the troops, like a saint that we can trust to help us carry us through. Black Jesus, right? And I think right here what Tupac is saying is, in times of these wars, in times of this, whatever it is, it's creating the idea of the general, the idea of somebody who enacts in that perspective. And how you feel about that is how you feel about that. I think he's essentially saying it's a counter to the FBI, in my mind, the FBI's perspective of the Black Messiah, right? And their fear of the Black Messiah is somebody who was able to electrify the black community under one guy's under one understanding, under one perspective. And I think that's why hip hop is so dangerous, because it could be done through hip hop, right? So that's the one thing that they feared the most, or the FBI feared the most, was a black messiah being born. That doesn't mean that the black, all the people who are dramatic, it doesn't literally mean a literal black Jesus. It means somebody who has the message and the power and the strength and the charisma to galvanize the black community, which is dangerous, because then you can militarize and create militia, and that's the last thing that they want. Then you go on to Young Noble. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace to Young Noble. Honestly, the best verse in the song, in my opinion, even better than Tupac's. In my opinion, he said, "This is where I started." I'm thinking like, whoa, like as a kid, thinking, right? Outlaws, we got our own race, culture, religion. Immediately when I hear that line, I'm thinking like, your own race, culture, religion. How? There's only one. That's what I've been taught, right? Your own race, culture, religion, right? And for some people, it's like, damn, that's taking you down the wrong path. But it leads to the rabbit hole where now you start to question things, you start to put the pieces together, you deconstruct, and when you come back, you're able to do it from the space of genuine love and genuine understanding of God. And not genuine understanding, but genuine connection. Not from a place of fear, not from a place of it being mandatory, and not from a place of going to hell. But a real relationship is being built because you're deconstructing all that other bullshit, right? Where, and I say bullshit as in not the word, but the way the word is manipulated to control you. There's a difference, right? Somebody can make anybody water wasn't, or there's some things that wasn't put on this earth to destroy you or poison you, but it's been manipulated to destroy you and poison you. Same thing. Rebelling against the system commence to lynching. The president ain't even listening to the pain of the youth. We make music for eternity, forever the truth. Political prisoner. There's two choices they forget. We make music for eternity, forever the truth. Hip hop in a sentence. Political prisoner. The two choices that they're giving us: ride or die. For life they sentence us. Oh, black Jesus, please watch over my brother Sean. Soon as the sky get bright, it's just another storm. Brother's gone. Now labeled a statistic. Ain't no love for us ghetto kids. They call us nigglets. History repeats itself. Nothing new in school. I knew everything I read wasn't true. Another thing that broke my mind. Like, that made me look at school in a different way. Going to school, and instead of reading all this stuff in history and accepting it as fact, songs like Black Jesus had me questioning things like, okay, but what if this isn't true? What if this just, and it took me down what I deem as the right path to deconstructing things, which allowed me to question a lot of the propaganda that's used to control us, manipulate us, and turn us into these, like, obedient NPCs to the government and the system, right? But the fact that he's talking about having your own race, culture, religion, having your own, it's the same thing that they did when they took what Jesus said and spun it in order to dominate the world. You feel what I'm saying? It's the same thing that they did. And then Tupac comes in, which is, to this clique, I'm dedicated, criminal orientated, and outlaw initiated. Blazed and faded, made for terror. Major league niggas pray together. Bitches in they grave while my real niggas play together. We die clutching glasses, filled with liquor bombastic. Cremated last wishes, niggas smoke my ashes. High side while I die wishing. Hoping for possibilities, I'm mob on. While they copping me sloppily. Cots patrol projects, hating the people living in them. I was born an inmate, waiting to escape the prison. Went to church, but still don't understand it. They underhanded. God gave me these commandments. The world is scandalous. Blast to they holy high. Baptize they evil minds. Wise, no longer blinded. Watch me shine trick. Which one of y'all want to feel the degrees? Bitches freeze facing Black Jesus. Now, these last 8 bars is the ones that I want to focus on, right? Cops patrol projects, hating the people living in them. I was born an inmate waiting to escape the prison, right? This is a multi in my mind, because not only was Tupac's mother pregnant with him in prison, but that's the reality that we're born in, right? Especially when you live in America. Not really the reality if you want to get deep, but it's the reality on the surface level that allows you to break down if you can deconstruct it. But we are born prisoners in our mind due to the propaganda and ideas of the world that we're told, right? Went to church but still don't understand it. They underhand it. God gave me these commandments. The world is scandalous. What I take away from these bars is as many times as you can go to church, as many times you whatever, and hear these scriptures and hear all these different things. It's not that you have to understand everything, but if you going just to hear things and leave, what are you really taking away from this? And that's what a lot, you know what I'm saying? At least in my experience, I'm not saying every church is like this, but there are a lot of churches that are like this where it's not really put in the perspective where everybody can understand, everybody can take something from it, which is why I think in my mind a lot of songs that Tupac made, if you really deconstruct them, is ghetto, is really just um gospel music for the ghetto. It's gospel music that's deconstructed for people who live in these circumstances to understand and take away from it. Kendrick does the same thing. His way is just a little more coded. Kendrick is more Negro spiritual than Tupac is, in my opinion. I know Tupac does have the spirit, but and I say Negro spiritual as in they had to speak in a way where no one can understand, so they couldn't nobody was catching on. Kendrick is more Negro spiritual in that way, where his shit is coded, versus Tupac, where he's just saying it, right? And in my mind, what he's saying here is, how many times do our people go to church and still don't walk away with the real message that's being left behind, or the real message that Jesus was trying to teach? And it's not just our people, it's everybody. Everybody. How many people are going to church and not really leaving? How many people are going to church to check something off the checklist, to check something off the to-do list, and it's not really walking away with nothing or really applying that to your life? That's like most people. Like, well, that's most people. You see what I'm saying? And then he goes and blast to they holy high, baptize their evil minds, wise no longer blinded. And I think here he's talking about the deconstruction, right? The same thing that Jesus did. When Jesus came here, he deconstructed religion. He deconstructed the idea of what was going on, and that's what made him a threat, was him deconstructing the idea of the religion and taking them back to the actual relationship with you and God, right? With you and the source, right? What it takes to get to the source. Live like me, right? Do as I do to get closer to the source. Which is another thing that Tupac references in Blasphemy, right? When he says, follow me. You know what I mean? The hook again. Here come Castro. He says, someday, some way, some say, someday, somehow, some way we gonna fail, and ain't hard to twirl. We dwell in hell. Trap, black, scarred and barred, searching for truth when it's hard to find God. I play the Pied Piper, and to this thug life, I'm a lifer. Proceed to turn up the street just for drops. My black Jesus walk through this valley with me, where we so used to hard times and casualties. Indeed, it hurt me deep to have to sleep on the streets and having to eat in the week. So say a prayer for me and all the young thugs raised on drugs and guns, blazed out and numb, slave to the slums. This ain't living, right? So this is, I mean, what is the difference between, look, this is my thing when I say, like, hip-hop is the gospel, nigga. People be thinking I'm like, oh, you can't say that, bro. Hip-hop got cuss words. Hip-hop got talking about saying all this different shit, man. Look, you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm saying, bro, what the fuck is the difference between what this nigga is saying and what David wrote in Psalms? What is the fucking difference? Can somebody tell me? Can somebody tell me what's the difference between what Psalms was saying in David and what the fuck these niggas doing in this track? Can somebody tell me? Or am I still crazy? I'm like, am I still crazy and just overthinking? What is the difference between what these niggas saying in this song and what David was writing in Psalms, bro? I'm just asking. And then, and before I even get off topic, this is what I'm saying, bro. This song was one of the reasons I helped deconstruct. Shout out to CeeLo Green too. CeeLo Green helped me deconstruct too. I think I'm gonna do that reaction to that freestyle and post it on the Patreon. But this helped me deconstruct, and not only that, as I'm getting older and appreciating hip hop more on a spiritual level, bruh. On a spiritual level, bro. I'm realizing why I'm attracted to the certain artists I'm attracted to in their music, right? Why I'm attracted to certain artists in their message. Why I'm not attracted to a certain artist's message. Why it doesn't appeal. It's because I'm attracted to things that speak to me on a spiritual level. And when I look at it from that, it's like the music that helps me deconstruct is the music that helps me grow mentally, spiritually, right? And in my mind, this is exactly why hip hop is so dangerous, because it can lead, it's so raw and it's so unfiltered. It can lead you in the direction of deconstructing to the point where you can get back to the message that Jesus left behind, the message that God leaves, the messages that are in the Bible, and read it from a deconstructed perspective. That's dangerous. And a lot of things that Tupac was doing in Machiavelli, etc., he was deconstructing the black mind and their perspective on religion. That's what Tupac was doing. And when you do that, you actually get closer to it. There's less shame, there's less guilt, there's less whatever. And that opens your heart. So this is what I mean when I say hip hop is the gospel. Everything that's in the Bible is everything in hip hop. Everything in these songs that we write, everything in these stories that we tell, that's in the Bible. All right? Just because it's not being added to the Bible today don't mean like it's in there. You see what I'm saying? These realities that we live, it's in there. What to do about these realities is in there. And all Tupac and the Outlaws, really Tupac a lot. Tupac was spreading the fucking gospel in a way that we could understand it and that we could feel it. That's what Black Jesus, the song, represents to me. All right? But in the day, at the end, right here, searching for Black Jesus, it's hard. We need help out here, so we're searching for Black Jesus. It's like a saint that we pray to in the ghetto to get us through. Somebody that understand our pain. We know maybe not too perfect, you know, somebody that hurt like we hurt, somebody that smoke like we drink like we drink, that understand where we coming from. That's what we pray to. Boom, boom, right? And the level in which you want to agree to this is one thing. The idea is amazing. And that's how I listen to things. I don't take everything at face value. Oh, he said this, so now I got to take away the whole thing. No. What's the idea behind what he's saying? What's the total idea behind what he's saying? You feel me? But yeah, I just wanted to share that with y'all, man. Love y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new here, especially if you've been here. Tap in with the Patreon. I'm going to do the CeeLo Green reaction as well. So yeah, come rock with me, man. I'm going to catch y'all.